I went to the women's Lions like engagement day, because obviously the week before I went to the men's, and it was so good, like different, very different, but lots of insights. And you know how my brain works, like so many ideas ticking about, but they really wanted to hear what we as the female players wanted. There was a lot of young girls in the room. There was mixed age, to be fair, but there was a lot of young girls and potential like Lions players in the future. If it's not this one, it's the next one. And it was just so good that we felt heard. Alessia Russo was there on the panel. She gave a little bit of insight with the Lionesses, and that was just cool to hear stories. But like when I say engagement, they were asking us, what colour do we want the kit?
Sorry, going back to Alessia Russo, I didn't see any photos with her. Did no one want to get a photo with her?
Well, so she'd come from a different country. I can't remember what country it was. Juventus, I don't even know if that's how you say it. Yeah. I think she'd just come off the flight, got there, done the panel, and then was off again. So I mean, we were all surprised. We didn't know that she was going to be there, and she was there.
So you didn't say to her, "Do you want to come on Rugby Rodeo?"
Well, I was thinking, if you can get to the Lions engagement day, you can get on this bloody pod. But no, I didn't have the time to actually give her a peace of mind. But
peace of mind? Were you going to show her some fists? Were you?
Listen to me, Lessie. No, that was really cool. But yeah, they wanted to hear everything. So a few interesting conversations. So the talk about the kit. Do we want it to be red? And I feel like I'll ask you some of the questions and get a bit of your ideas. So, do we want the kit to be red or the same as the men's? As in, what would you want?
Red?
Yeah, red. So, I mean, there was a mixed bag.
Also you. Yeah, red. Yeah, right answer.
Red, correct. No, there was a mixture of answers. And my opinion on it was that I'd like to keep it red. I love the royal reds that the men have got. And I feel like, like with the Red Roses shirt, it's slightly different to the men's. It's like a spin-off. But I said if we went back to the old red now, it's almost like it might look like we've got like a hand-me-down from years before.
Agreed.
Whereas they've kind of like reintroduced what the Lions shirt is. But then a few of the girls were saying it would be really cool if we had like an alternate kit for the warm-up games, which I think would be really cool. We could have our own spin on it. It could be bright pink, for example. Not saying that would be, but it could be anything. Another conversation that we had, so obviously the first Lions tour is in New Zealand. And we were kind of talking about where would we want the one after to go. And a few of the suggestions were Canada, which a lot of us did have, like, we disagreed with it because obviously in WXV, the attendance in terms of the crowds wasn't massive.
Yeah, it was poor.
It was really poor. And for something like the Lions, we want to keep what...
And they're not really a rugby nation.
Exactly, but then also they're second in the world now. So it's all of this mix up. My opinion on it was, or suggestion, because it might change, that basically when you look at the men's game, the crowd and the fans is very, very different to the women's game. We all know this. So when the men go out to Australia, they're going to have a huge fan base that go out to Australia. And that's something that they said on the launch day that I went, that no matter where you go, you have this sea of red that's following you. So I was saying that because our game is family orientated, if we go to Australia, we wouldn't get a family of 4 all paying to come out to Australia, because it's just not the same. So my suggestion was, why don't we do a Lions tour in the UK? So you play like 4 games, let's say, 1 in England, 1 in Wales, 1 in Ireland, 1 in Scotland, and against the top teams still. So against like your New Zealand's, Canada, Australia, France, and our warm-up games are like in New Zealand and Australia or Canada or America. But then we come to England after, or we come to the UK after, to get that fan base.
So we would go away to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
It just switches it up so that you could potentially play a warm-up game and they're like, actually, we want to come watch it, and they could come over. But by playing in the UK as the main games, you get this network of people. And then 4 years later, is it every 4 years? 4 years later, you then say, oh, we're going to play in France. Because that was another suggestion. Do we do it in France and Europe? Yeah. Then all the people then come because you've had them engage into something that's actually quite new.
Yeah. I think it's going to be tough to get the fan base to New Zealand, personally.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, because the Lions is UK against all these other teams. And I feel like we need to create whatever our fan base is first before going left, right and centre. Because ultimately we want people to look at the TV and be like, I'm missing out. I need to get that ticket to Australia. I need to get that ticket to New Zealand.
Do you think that, you said that like a family of 4 wouldn't travel to New Zealand or Australia for us, but they would for the men. How do you think that we can get that sort of fan on board to travel for us? Or do you think it's that they would have already travelled for the men's Lions, they wouldn't then have like budgeted or can like afford that another trip to Australia to New Zealand? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think the difference that women's rugby has got in comparison to the men is that our game's really, really accessible. In terms of like ticket prices, where we play. The men's game, I mean, the games that the boys have been playing in the autumns, I don't think you could get a ticket under £200.
Yeah.
So let's say that was my family. We wouldn't pay £800 to go watch an England game.
No, yeah.
And then on top of that, the flights and then the accommodation.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm involved in rugby. But the people that I don't have any research, I don't know this, but the people that are going to watch the Lions, if it is a family of 4, mum or dad have probably got bags of money and can pay for that. Whereas I think where the women's game is and where we can take it is that anyone can access it. So it doesn't matter your like, is it economic state? Is that what
yeah.
it doesn't
Status,
matter. It doesn't depend on that. It just depends if you're a rugby fan or not.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'd want to take forward because, you know, we want to inspire people. It doesn't matter how rich you are.
Yeah.
Or
I think it would be cool as well. Like, it's never happened, has it? That each country hosted a game for the Lions.
Yeah.
And like, have the Lions ever played at home? Like, I know they don't have a home because obviously it's the 4 nations, but have they ever played at home? No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have it at home in all the different nations. Like the men doing it this year, they're having a warm-up game in Ireland, the Lions are. So I think actually to start even that tradition to be like, no, we can actually have the tour at home. Like other countries can come and tour us and like they can tour England, Scotland, Ireland and like Wales, which I think would be cool. And like you say, actually like the fan base that we have is very within us. And I think it would be nice that it can happen for us as well.
Of course. And I also think that, I mean, us and France, us being England and France, we already create the biggest crowds anyway. So why not take that on to the next level? It's 2 years after the World Cup. That's at a home World Cup. Yeah. Like, take it on, and then you start getting more people wanting to watch the Wales games, that want to watch the Ireland games. And it grows it in a way that we can project forward with it as opposed to just making it isolated.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good suggestion. Absolutely.
Whether they take it or not, whether they listen to this pod or not. But that's the thing, the engagement day, they listened. And it was really, really cool to be in that.
Well, they have to. They've never done it before. So they have to take the people who are in it, playing in it. They have to take their like advantage of knowing what people want, what they don't want.
Exactly.